How much revenue do you think you've generated for your brands?
I would say between 100 and 200 million.
There was 11 people at our event that we just did here that were doing over $1 million a month. Some doing like 10 million a month. Like, it's crazy. A lot of these dudes are just like ripping creatives and they're spam testing products and they just don't know what's working. We just bridge that small little gap of like, hey, here's why it's working. Like, oh, and then they can go and action it.
So if someone were to find an agency or creative team, is there any tips for them to, find a good agency? Because a lot of people say agencies, trash.
How do you get results on TikTok? How do you actually scale on TikTok? And because I know you've worked with big brands that, I don't want to name drop, but like a lot of people in the e-com space would know you've done all of their TikTok ads. You help scale them with TikTok ads. How do you do it, bro? Who do we have here today, Mr. Sean?
Oh, who do we have here? All the way from the Netherlands.
Hey.
Well, actually, this man now, man.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
we're the guests here.
You guys are the guests.
Different countries too. Mr. Static Ad Scaler himself.
Among many things.
Of course, among many things.
Introduce yourself, man. What's your name? What do you do?
Yeah, my name is Dennis, and we're an agency called DW Media, and run ads for 7 to 9 figure brands, working with around 50 to 60 brands actively at the moment.
Crazy.
Creatives, ads, Meta, TikTok, Snap, and that's what we do. Currently, building that agency and trying to make an impact on all these different brands, guys. So good to be here.
Awesome. How much revenue do you think you've generated for your brands? Numbers are too big.
Yeah, I would say between 100 and 200 million, like
crazy
around that number across the last 5 years or so when I've been running my agency. So it's been a great journey and things are coming to fruition.
So you know a couple of things about how to scale eCom?
Some would say, yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly why we got you here, man. Well, I have a few questions that I want to go through. Outside of just obviously you scaling at the agency, tell us a little bit more, like how did you get in? And I do want to get to the creatives and all the other things in TikTok and whatnot, but like how'd you get in the agency space? And what are some of the things that you've done to kind of like get to where you are now, just to learn a little bit more about your story?
Yeah, it was started, I think, right in 2019, whenever I was just like in my job, finding different things, trying some drop shipping here and there, this classic story, and then finding some other courses out there and testing things out. Suddenly, I found like the agency vehicle and started testing that, reaching out, finding clients, and then slowly the ball started rolling and found some clients, start to work with some freelancers, leverage their results to get clients.
Always.
That's just part of the game in the beginning, and you're truly trying to get your way in the door. And that's how things started clicking and finding more clients, growing the team, hiring a designer, hiring another media buyer, and then things changed with ads. Creative became more important, then starting to build out that creative side of the business, which obviously has become a very big part, like 60-70% of the agency now, like across editors, creative strategists, all that good stuff. And then the last few years have been great, really scaled the agency up with obviously, like I said, the creative part, but then also the media buying part and setting all of those systems up. And I think that's just how everything roughly started like 5 years ago, and up until today, building the team up right now between 35 to 40 team members at the moment.
Crazy.
And building those systems and making sure that we can actually scale, and just looking forward to see what the next year bring, what growth it will bring, and it's been a great journey so far. And obviously, I've known you for a couple of years now, Spencer, and Sean as well, and great to see what you guys are doing. And overall, it's fun to obviously meet up right now and see each other in person.
Yeah, we hopped vehicles a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to get into that. We're still kind of there, but for like, what you're doing specifically, I just have so much respect for, because I think the hardest part that most people don't, or like the thing about agency life is like, you're not really in the marketing business at some point. Like, you're just in the people business. It's like finding clients and finding team members to run through the systems and operations
100%.
that you have. And so it's one of those things that, for me, I struggle with, and, we've scaled up to a point, and I don't want to, we'll get into some of our stuff as well. But one question I want to ask you, because a lot of people watching this are e-com brands. What is your creative process? Like, me and Sean are always, we've got the I don't want to say it because it's going to sound really out of pocket if you don't have context, but the chat scaler over here has his the CC chat scaler has his process. We've been vocal about some stuff. What is your process for creating ads? Like what does that look like? What for you is like really important when it comes to making winning ads? Because obviously you make a ton of ads. You probably make hundreds and hundreds of ads a month with your agency, so maybe even thousands at this point. A week, literally, rookie numbers, pump those up. What is your process for making ads? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think as you guys also probably preach, start with research, understanding the customer. That is just a really extensive process to really find whatever makes your customer tick, going on Amazon, going on Reddit, going on all these different places, going through your customer reviews, and that's just the base of everything. Whether it's a static ad or it's a video, everything starts with research, and that's just really where you have to invest time. Because 90% of the brands or 90% of the people in the space are not doing that. If you're even just touching a little bit on that research, you're ahead of 90% of the game.
Literally.
Because most people out there, probably you might not think it because you're on the whole Twitter space maybe, you think everybody is crushing it, but that's only just a small percentage of the people. And if you already are doing everything like that, researching, etc., diving into your customer reviews, you're ahead of 90% of the game. And that's just really what stands you apart from getting good results, because most of the brands are just copying foreplay, copying as library, and saying, that looks cool. Yeah, or just ripping that looks cool. Let's remake it, and just 100%. Throwing shit at the wall and seeing whatever sticks, I think.
And we've both done that, to be fair.
I mean, sometimes, obviously, for speed, sometimes it
No, I'm saying, in the beginning, we were both, I remember for me, I was just oh, that's 3 reasons why. We've got to do 3 reasons why. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but, sometimes it can work. But what I'm trying to get across, having a solid system that really has reason behind creatives
100%.
And not just, randomly taking something, but actually making sure that every creative test has also a hypothesis behind it, and that it actually has some reasoning behind it. I think that's the main thing how we make ads, and obviously then the whole iteration part come into you start to see data come through. Also, when a new client joins us, we're not shy of just taking a look at the account and seeing whatever works. Sometimes they expect we want new stuff, but sometimes it's also about looking at what's in the account and really iterating on that, because they might not have done that. That's just really, really important, I would say, looking at the data and not ignoring what the ad account is screaming at you. Really important.
Fire. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've seen that you put out a shit ton of statics, right? Of course, you've done statics for a lot of big brands as well. But what's your approach to creating these static ads? Is it different from any other ads, or is there a secret sauce behind it?
Well, like I said, as well, it's doing the research and finding whatever makes the customer tick. And static ads are part of the whole funnel. You have to have videos. You can't there are brands that mostly run on static ads, but it's not it will work for every brand. Static ads play a part in the funnel. Usually most of bottom of the funnel, they will help more with the more aware audiences, to help them give them an extra nudge, have some offers on the static ads, etc. But mostly we are seeing them play a big part in the funnel, whether it's middle of the funnel, but bottom of the funnel. But obviously you want to make sure that you have different ads for each stage of the awareness levels, and that's wherever statics can play a part in that, and making sure that you have a good mixture of different creatives, videos, statics, etc. So I wouldn't say there's a special sauce about static ads. It's really about the research and finding good angles that can really convert, and also making sure that you're not just slamming your customers with one type of messaging, but really having variety in your static ads. And also what I'm seeing sometimes be done as well, people just testing different headlines without much variation. Make sure your static ads are actually have some thought process behind it, not just have one image and test 10 different headlines. Obviously can work, but yeah, usually you want to have a bit of a bigger swing in your static
100%.
Yeah, and that's just usually we'll do a visual variation or slight changes in colors, etc. So there's more of a eye-catching difference in different static ads. So I think that's key, and not just testing headlines. That's a very small thing to test, and it will not be a very big element within Meta to recognize that as a different variant in your ads. So it might not have a good spend allocation as well.
Yeah. And I think what I've always respected about what you do on static specifically, because I see them all the time. Obviously, I see your ad. That ad crushes for you. I know it does. But it's just like the congruence on them is just dialed. And you also, again, like you just understand the customer so well. So it's like anytime I see those statics, I'm like, man, that's speaking directly to the customer. And I think a lot of these people that try to make static ads, and it's so funny because like in Evolve, we're talking to some of these students and they're like, static ads don't work. I was like, dude, one of our biggest clients spending $30K a day, like their top 2 ads are statics. Like they just, it hits, the headline is strictly for the customer. It speaks directly to them and the image is congruent. And that's something where I was loud. I looked at Sean when you said that, like just test a bunch of random headlines. That's what we used to do. Like we were like, oh, big brain, like one variable at a time. And then we started doing things a lot more congruent. And I think like that's what just has made you so successful with the static ads. And I know like we've even had some of our clients like working with you for statics. They're like, yeah, like this guy's statics are really good. And I'm not just saying you're not just good, you're only good at statics, but go ahead.
I mean, also like whatever makes things super easy as well is having a solid brand, like having the good
100%.
Good guidelines, having good like brand colors, typography, etc. If you have like a real shitty brand, black and whites, like that's not going to stand out in the feed. Like you have to have something that catches the eye, whether it's some bold colors or you have a really strong branding. That makes all the difference because you can lay 2 brands next to each other, one with very boring colors and the other one with bright, bold colors. Like the other one is just going to stand out more, even if it's the same messaging.
Yeah, and I think one thing with statics too is like don't be scared that it's an ad. Like I've talked to people about when they make static ads, it's like they're scared. I think there is an approach for camouflage ads. Don't get me wrong, and like making things look organic, like the puberty style ads. You've seen like the little yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes like if you're gonna make an ad, just make it good. And like that's what I love. Like when I, again, I'm glazing so hard. I love it though. But it's like when I see your statics, I'm just like, bro, I was like, this is such a good static, and it's like you just make a great ad. And it's like people. It's not that people don't like ads; they just don't like shitty ads. You know, and a lot of statics are just shitty. It's just like a stupid product image with like a stupid headline that has zero thought process, zero research.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they're like, oh, the statics don't work. You know, it's just like I think the emphasis on just making them great ads, just and not being scared to lean into it.
Yeah, I mean, also like whenever we make ads, it's all about like having the right elements in the ad as well, and making sure there is a solid concept and not just copying those. Obviously, there's like tons of like templates you can copy. Like it works. Like,
and you've got some.
I've got some for sure, but there are tons of other ones out there. But overall, it's just really, really important. Like I said in the beginning, I want to like reiterate that's just making sure it's backed by any research, and it's like having like some solid thought process behind it, and not just like copying everything. So
100%.
Yeah,
for sure. So you know how to make like crazy good ads, but another thing is you guys push out so much volume. So I'm wondering, how do you keep that quality while you scale to such volume?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about having the right systems in place. Obviously, I'm not saying that all of our ads that we produce are killers. Like, there's a certain hit rate of creatives. Like, I mean, we have failures as well. Like, it's not that all of our ads that will turn into winners, but usually 10-20% will turn out to be winners. Sometimes want to shoot for higher than that. It also depends on like the client, etc. But I think it's really how are we able to generate volume and also maintain quality? I would say having the right systems, and of course like making sure that the one designing the ad is actually used to the brand and they have actually read everything through and they understand also the audience. Something we started to implementing in the agency as well is to making sure that we have designers linked to specific brands so they can really get invested into the brand and
100%.
Working with only a certain creative strategist. Recently or before, we just started doing like a task is available, any designer that's right now available, start working on that. But recently started having more of like a pod structure where certain designers will work on different brands. So really making sure that they are invested in the brand, because if somebody new just started working on a brand, like it will likely be that the ad will come out great at once. Like it's the chances are pretty low. But then you want to make sure that the people making the ads are invested and they know the brand in and out. So I'd say those systems are really important.
Awesome. I'm gonna switch directions a little bit, not as much, but TikTok, bro. I can't get it. I don't know what it is. It's probably just a bad belief.
Yeah,
But me and Sean, we suck at TikTok, okay? And I know TikTok is a beast, and it is actually an initiative for us to get it going. You have been a savage on there, and you're, I don't know what you're doing over there at TikTok, but they're like, They're paying you, bro. You figured it out. I want to know, like, what is there anything specifically, and I think I might know the answer to this, but I want to hear from you. It's just like, what makes TikTok work, bro? Like, how do you actually, it's as open and broad as it is, and there's probably maybe, a very simple answer to this, or maybe there's something more complex, but like, how do you get results on TikTok? Like, how do you actually scale on TikTok? And because I know you've worked with big brands that, I don't want to name drop, but like a lot of people in the e-com space would know you've done all of their TikTok ads. You help scale them with TikTok ads. How do you do it, bro? How do you get TikTok to work?
Yeah, I would say a couple things. The first and foremost is creative volume. Like with any platform, obviously you want to push out a lot of creatives. I think that's just really key to make sure that, because the audience is like quite saturated, like their creatives die out quite fast on TikTok. So you want to make sure that you always have something fresh as well, and keep like making sure that you have new ideas pumping in the ad account on a weekly basis. Also, you see it like Meta CTRs, TikTok CTRs, they are half of like what Meta is. Like
crazy.
Like people like to stay on the platform for longer. Like maybe, I'm not sure if you use TikTok, but if you go on TikTok, you're usually there to just scroll and be entertained. Like it's the same as YouTube mostly. And Instagram and Facebook are a bit different. Like people go on there to like just check the stuff out and basically
check their friends and family.
Yeah, check their friends and family, and the likeness of them clicking on an ad are much higher because they're not there. Like they're there in a different mind frame basically. That's why you want to make sure that the ads are really grabbing the attention, especially in the first 5 seconds. Like the chance of them clicking are half of them already, and you want to make sure that the CTR is as much as possible, because the chance of them clicking are already super low. So creative volume, very key, and also overall making sure that you're not wasting a ton of budget, because the ROAS will always be lower than Meta. Like we've seen it, like running TikTok for a couple of years now, like the ROAS is always lower, but then you also want to make sure that you're measuring it right, because the measurement of that is so different, because it's so top of funnel, and you really need to measure like, what's the effect on TikTok? Like what's happening with Google now, because TikTok is happening right now. People don't click as much. Are my Google searches up? Usually it is the case. So you want to make sure that you measure that through like a multi-touch attribution tool. Triple Whale is great for that.
Shout out Triple Whale.
Many tools out there for sure. So you want to make sure that you're looking at things from different attribution windows, because TikTok will have a halo effect on different channels. Like it will help improve Meta, it will help improve Google, like
1000%.
Snap, etc. Overall revenue, you want to steer on obviously your overall blended numbers, and TikTok will really be key in that, because usually the ROAS might be lower. Seen quite some success with fashion brands, so also making sure that your brand is a good fit for TikTok. Usually higher average order value products can be difficult in there, because it's just a different audience there, and the behavior is so different to sell like a high AOV product. Obviously there might be still brands ripping there with high AOV products, but we've particularly seen a lot of success with fashion. Like that's where most of our spend goes for fashion clients. They're really successful on TikTok, so yeah.
And the style of content, is it just like kind of lifestyle content that's working for you guys? Is something like that's you said the hook? I think that's something that I feel like I know, but like when you really think about TikTok, it's like, yeah, people are just on there doom scrolling. So it's like the hook has to be dialed to get them off of that platform, because like like TikTok is like a crazy drug. Like people will doom scroll that for hours on end, and so it's like to get them out of that doom scroll, it's like you better have a great ad. So I guess to go back to my question, like fashion specifically, like what style of content are you seeing work well?
Yeah, usually just like wanting to portray something like aspirational, like what do people want to look like, their current self to their future self, and you really want to paint that picture for somebody to show like what they could be and the lifestyle, etc. That's just really important. Like, and also test different styles, like Get Ready With Me, those kind of like videos, but also just like very simple videos with just music edits and some fast cuts, like crush it. Like you want to have different, like with any platform, like it's honestly, if you think about it, it's very simple, just having a good variety of different pieces of content, and that will always win no matter of channel. But you need to make sure that the channel really fits your product, fits your audience, and also are you measuring it right. So I would say those are the most important parts.
This is going back to, I guess, more to agency space, but it'll kind of apply to e-com brands. What's the number one issue that brands who come to you, like, Dennis, I need help. Fix my whole business for me, please, and don't charge me anything. But what's the number one issue that you see, like, after you get in and do an audit on a brand? Like, where do you see most e-com brands kind of going wrong, and then how do you go in and fix it?
Usually it's some foundational stuff, like not knowing the numbers is a big one. Like thinking they be scaling, but obviously they're losing a lot of money. Like knowing your numbers and making sure that you're tracking your numbers correctly on a daily basis, like or on a weekly basis, and making sure that your ads are actually driving incremental revenue for the business. Also, like not like sometimes I still see it like brands making a mess of their ad account. Like it's one of the foundational things we all like think it's quite normal.
I remember, not to interrupt, the screenshot that you send of like they have like 150 campaigns or something crazy like that.
Sometimes
You're just
like and then 150 campaigns and spending $100 a day, like in total, not on these campaigns, but like in total, like it's brands launching like single ad campaigns, and it's just like those kind of things, testing interest, testing lookalikes, and trying to squeeze as much out of the audience as possible without testing new creatives. Like that kind of stuff you'll see, and is honestly usually a red flag of like either a current media buyer or they just don't have the knowledge themselves, and knowing the numbers and not testing either not enough creatives or too much creatives. Like they need to find a good balance of the right amount of creatives for their budget, and then also having the systems as well to make good creatives. Like we have, obviously on our side we have different parts of our service. Usually, like we prefer to have everything in our hands, basically manage the ads, create the ads, etc. And obviously working together with brands also on their numbers, scaling on the back end numbers to make sure that profitably they're actually driving that profit and steering on those numbers. And I see so many brands just like say, oh, what the hell? I didn't know this before. Like, you just opened my eyes. Like, I didn't really know, like, you should scale like that. I was just looking at the meta ROAS and like whatever the meta says, like I would scale on, like, and then not knowing like the whole like education on the numbers. That's just really important, I would say.
100%. Yeah, I think for us, we've come in and there's been some brands, and these are my favorite ones, where it's like they're just like brand founders or product founders first. It's like we talk to some of these brands and they're just Facebook ad guys, and they have a brand, right? And but these brand dudes, it's like they just don't know, because like they didn't start their business through Facebook ads. Like they start their business building a product, building a brand. Like marketing was kind of something that they actually needed help with. And I think for those brands, it's always like we salivate at. We're just like, bro, oh my gosh. They're like, yeah, I'm spending like $400 a day getting like a 10x, but I don't know what to do. And I'm just like, yo, I've got you, bro. I will figure this out. But yeah, I know there's a lot of those brands. And the one thing that I want to hit on that you said is the testing too many creatives. I feel like I had a conversation 2 weeks ago with this brand, and he's like, yeah, he was like flexing about it. He's like, yeah, we test like 250 creatives a month. And I was like, well, how big's your team? He's like, we have one creative strategist. And I'm like, dude, like, like how, like, no wonder your ads aren't winning. It's like you're not putting any thought. You're just literally, you're just throwing shit at a wall, right? Yeah. Like you have no intent, and you don't even understand your customer. You're just like telling this dude to like copy and paste statics from Foreplay, whatever it is, right? So it's like, I think that like the intent piece, and Sean's obviously like a huge preacher on that, just like intent. But I think more than anything, man, it's something from the agency space that I love. It's just the different types of brands, and there's not really a one size fits, right? Like you said, sometimes it's their ad account, sometimes their numbers are just completely off, sometimes they aren't testing enough creative, sometimes they're testing too many. And I think that's something that's been so cool about watching you grow, man, is like how you handle that and how you've been able to maintain that with just like you've continued to scale the agency. Obviously we've kind of scaled our team back down, but it's like you've been able to still maintain a really strong service for these clients, and they're not all the same. It's not like local lead gen where you have 250 med spa clients.
I wish it was easy.
Literally, it's just like it's the exact same process, like lead form, call center, and boom, booking, right? Yeah. So for us, it's obviously a little bit different. So I guess one question I want to get into is more like a selfish agency question. Like, what has been like how have you been able to scale? Like, what has been like the most important thing for you to actually scale? I think you mentioned systems, but I kind of want to hear more like how have you been able to like find team members? How have you been able to balance that with clients and new people coming in and training? Like how, maybe taking a little bit more through that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a struggle to make sure that you maintain quality. Obviously clients will join, like clients will onboard either through inbounds, referrals, etc. But then also making sure you have the right team members, and then obviously sometimes you might stretch a certain team member beyond their capabilities, and then you need to hire somebody new, and obviously that will come with like some repercussions as well. They might be a bit overwhelmed at the moment, and then you need to find new team members. And then how we've been able to grow is usually through the results we bring, and then obviously clients will refer us new brands, etc. Ads has been great for us to find new clients as well through paid ads, and then also through social media, to Twitter, through LinkedIn, building that up has been great to grow the agency. But then also like finding the right team members is obviously one of my biggest challenges, I would say. Like finding team members that can actually deliver the quality that we promise in the beginning. Like whenever a client joins, I have a call with them and see if we can help them. But then having team members that can also really find or create like the systems as well to be able to deliver on those promises that we give them, and then making sure that the quality is there and the speed is there. So that's always a struggle, of course, to make sure that the speed is there, quality is there, and team members deliver, and then building out the creative team, editors, designers, etc., to basically be able to handle the inbound of clients. And then working either with my own network through LinkedIn to find new team members, find quality as well. And then, also working together with some other sources like hiring agencies, etc., to find good people as well, to strengthen the team. And that's been great as well, to have more of a headhunting approach of like finding talent as well. And obviously keeping them, like people stay with the agency for certain team members, I found as well. Like they like to work with certain team members, and then being able to incentivize the team members as well to stay on for longer, because if team members are incentivized, they'll be more motivated to get results. So sharing that piece of the pie with the team as well, to make sure that if we grow our clients, the whole team grows, the whole team eats, and then like we're all happy and the clients are happy. So that's the circle of like making clients happy, they'll refer us new clients, and obviously that grows the agency. So it all starts with results, because then the 100%. Other ones will follow basically.
100%. And I think that's where like we get along so well, and I think our little Discord mastermind that we have. A shout out to all the other guys in there too. But it's just like every dude in there, it's just like we're all driven by results. Like we're not driven by this idea of just like pumping and dumping clients. Like in drop shipping, there's pump and dump stores, but it's like for us, it's like we've just always just given a shit, man. And I don't know if it's from Iman. I mean, if it is from Iman, shout out to Iman. But it's like I feel like there's just something about that group of guys there. It's just like we just give a shit, man. And I feel like, to your point, that's been one of the hardest things for me is, I'm like, bro, I know exactly what to do for the business, but can I show a team of 5 other or 10 other people how to do that, right? And then if I show one team, can I show 6 other teams how to do that as well, right? So it's like the agency space has its own challenges, and I don't need to rant about my stuff, but I've just really respected that about you, man, and the fact that you've been able to. And the thing is you, I think, out of the other guys in the group, it's just like you've just been on like this steady growth, bro. Like you didn't go from 5 brands to 50 in like a month, in like 2 months. It's just like you've just like here's just Dennis, like step by step going up and up and up. And I just think that in the agency space is like one of, I don't want to say the smartest way to grow, but kind of is, because it's just like you're just growing much more sustainably. And Derek, shout out to Derek, who's in the mastermind as well, he kind of pumped and like exited an agency, and he's like, bro, I'm trying to build this as slow as I can, and he's just trying to build it the right way.
I mean, it's tough. Like, I mean, it also comes with a snowball. After the years, you'll build more experience, you're more mature, like you're able to become a more like an authority figure as well. Like it becomes easier. Like when you look back like a couple of years, you're probably laughing at what you were doing then, and now, like obviously even like a year back, like I'm sometimes thinking back, like
what was I doing
a year ago? What the hell was I doing? And it looks so stupid. But now, obviously, you learn a lot of stuff, and that really helps to compound effect, the snowball that keeps rolling, and it just get better. The reputation that you build as well in the space, and people come to your agency for the results, for the creatives, etc. So that's just like something that comes with it as well.
Yeah. The thing also is like you've managed to hire like multiple quality strategists as well, right? Most people can't even like hire one. So if there's agencies or brands, right? If there's anyone looking to outsource their creative team, do you have any advice for them?
I would say, like, especially when you get started with a brand, just find one solid creative strategist, like full time. Like whenever you're making between like 50 and 100K per month, maybe even before that, like hire a solid creative strategist, maybe even a hybrid between a designer and a strategist, or a video editor / designer, so they can pump out everything themselves. There are people like that. So I would say, like, when you get started, like, find this creative strategist as soon as possible, and possibly a video editor and a designer hybrid that can really pump out creatives for you on a daily basis. And if they solely work for you, then you'll be winning for sure.
And have an incentive.
Have an incentive. Well, sometimes with different roles, it can be difficult, because sometimes, like,
like video editors or graphic designers.
Sometimes, how are you going to measure that, of course? But with somebody that's in the account, obviously it's much easier. But like you can find different ways of like incentivizing the team as well. Like 100%. There's so many ways. Yeah.
All right, now for the next part here, because we're going to get kicked out. I want you to ask me and Sean a question. It's kind of a fun thing I used to do on my old podcast. I think I did like 2 podcasts. It was called The One, and that was it. Typical. But Dennis, do you have any? What's a question for either for me or Sean or both?
So you guys have been working together for how long?
4 years.
4 years now.
Yeah.
Happily married.
First with the agency, of course,
Yeah.
and now with Evolve as well. How's the difference been between the agency and Evolve? Like, how's that developed for you guys? What's been the most like challenging maybe, and also like what's been the best about like either one? Like,
Yeah. So I think Evolve itself, which you guys didn't know, is our consulting program. The only reason why people join it is because we spent so many years in the agency, in the trenches. That's why we know our shit. I think for a lot of agency owners as well, like you guys have been doing it for so long. You've learned so much about multiple brands, multiple niches. Really, it's just translating that into, instead of doing it for people, just consulting instead. I mean, it's a good thing. If you guys are agency owners, it's easy to translate to anyways. Besides, brand owners, they get the benefits of working with an agency, all the insights, whatever, without having to pay like full agency fees. You'll be surprised as well, right? It's when you're working with clients at the agency, they feel like it feels like in a way like you're slaves to them. But if you're consulting with them, it's very different. They just ask you questions here and there. Especially you're working with like bigger clients, the ones who do like let's say 7 figures plus per month. They might not ask you too many questions too. The level of questions are high.
Yeah.
I would answer questions, to my team members on Twitter happily anyways. It's the same thing right now. That's how you get paid to do it.
usually the lowest revenue people like ask the most questions.
Yeah.
Yes, always.
Typically. I think for me, man, something that's been really cool is just like we've actually honestly just been able to help more people on I think right now have like almost 150 people in Evolve, and they honestly at some point last year, because where I struggled with last year was scaling team. We got up to similar to where you were, about like 30-ish people, and I had no leadership. And so everything just went back to Spence and Sean, and it was a disaster. Well, it wasn't a disaster, but like it was very stressful, and I just didn't enjoy it. And meanwhile, we were over in Evolve, and like people were just crushing, man. Like we have, like I was saying to him, earlier today, like there was 11 people at our event that we just did here that were doing over $1 million a month. Some doing like 10 million a month. Like it's crazy. And it's like, we're here able to help these people, and they're so appreciative of it. And they're just like, yo, thank you so much. Like, we just had 2 guys on here as well. They both scaled from like 10, 15K a day or 20K a day to like 100K a day. And it's just like, that's through just us kind of like being like, hey, here's what we do, like go and do it. And I think just being able to help more people has been really cool. And honestly, just getting them results without having to do everything for them. Yeah. So I think that for me is like one of the biggest things is like they actually just take action, and this because like sometimes you tell a client like, hey, and now obviously we're at the point where we kind of do everything for our clients. And I think you're kind of in the same boat, but it's like beginning stage of the agency, I was like, hey, we need some UGC, or like we need content. And I didn't have like a UGC department yet. And the client's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And 2 months go by and they're like, why are our results, crap? Like what's going on? It's just like, well, we asked you. It's like we tell somebody, or most of the dudes that get results and Evolve to like, I'm like, yo, go start doing some product seeding. Done, right? Like we literally had this guy who was just here as well. We had Opensend, shout out to Opensend, do a special guest call for us. Literally within the day, he signed up, got it, and the next day he already had like $1,500 in extra revenue coming from Opensend. And like he just took action that fast. And so not to get off topic, but I think for us, like the biggest difference has just been the scale. I think, for us, we've had 30 plus people join Evolve this month and nothing's really changed. You had 30 clients join the agency this month. We wouldn't see you. You wouldn't be here right now.
No,
so
100%.
I think that's the biggest difference for sure. For sure.
And what's the last question maybe? What's the biggest thing people say to you? Like, I'm appreciative of Evolve. Like, what's the number one thing that they like about Evolve and they really take away from Evolve?
I think the network's a big one.
Yeah.
The network is a big, like, dude that was just in here, I know I keep saying that, but like he's moving in with some dude that he met through Evolve. Like they're moving into the Hollywood Hills together. They're gonna go live together. Like it's crazy. And he met them through Evolve. So like facilitating those relationships. But I would say more than anything, and this is what we tell everybody, is like they just learn why certain things working. Because like a lot, or why certain things work. A lot of these dudes are just like ripping creatives and they're spam testing products and they just don't know what's working. And we just kind of like bridge that small little gap of like, hey, here's why it's working. Like, oh, and then they can go and action it. That's just the biggest thing. And for us, it's just been marketing fundamentals. Like, hey, market awareness levels, desires, make sure you go and do your research, understand your customer. And then when you review ads, here's how you do it. Complete your feedback loops. It's just like, it's a lot of simple stuff, but it's boring stuff for a lot of people, right? And that for them, I think is kind of just the missing piece that we help connect. I don't know if you have anything
Yeah, I
else.
think the main one, of course, network is the biggest one. Besides that, it's knowing what to focus on. Like you, Dennis, you work with like so many brands doing crazy numbers as well, right? You've seen what works, what doesn't.
Of course.
So a lot of people like they want that clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you work with so many big brands as well, right? I'm curious. So let's say like if someone were to find an agency or creative team, is there any tips for them to find a good agency? Because a lot of people say agencies trash.
Just
Yeah,
hire
yeah.
DW.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's obviously looking at their results is important, but I'm saying getting results for one brand doesn't guarantee results for another brand. Like, always take results with a grain of salt. Everybody can claim what they can claim, but really, ask the founder or the person you speak to on a call, like, ask them solid questions about like their systems, what they do, etc. And if it adds up, then for sure, get them a trial. Don't sign 1 year contracts, but like give them a try. Like creatively, I mean, the service, usually what we do 1 or 2 months minimum and then see how it works. Obviously, we want to get some data in, but I mean, don't sign crazy long contracts. Just give them a try. Obviously, with paid ads, it's a much longer process. If you are doing paid ads with an agency compared to creatives, like you want to give them some time. But I would say like just vetting through some good questions and not just hiring of simple case studies.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all the time we got.
Yeah,
Dennis,
we
bro,
wrap.
Appreciate
thank
it,
you
guys.
so much for coming, man. That was
That's amazing.
awesome. So much sauce in there. Statics, TikTok. I wish we had more time, but
Well, where can people find you?
Find me. Twitter, big one.
big one on Twitter.
Big one on Twitter, LinkedIn, anywhere. I would say those are the main ones.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate
Thank
you,
you.
bro.